Welcome to the Reclaim Fitness podcast, where we challenge what the fitness industry provides for us as women and birthing bodies and caregivers, and discuss what it looks like for us to reclaim this space so that it serves us. I am here to create a supportive community that empowers by providing knowledge about our bodies and encouraging you to find what is right for your body. My name is Susan Hathaway. I'm your host. I'm a certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine with added certifications in prenatal and postpartum fitness through Girls Gone Strong and Mama Strong. So please join me as you go about your day. Maybe you're going for a walk. Maybe you're folding your laundry, lying next to your child who refuses to sleep, or maybe you found a few minutes to yourself. Either way, I'm here with you and we'll get through this together. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Reclaim Fitness podcast. My name is Susan, and I'm going to be your host. And today, for our first episode, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me and who I am and why I'm here. But before we start that, I'm just going to go through a couple of announcements. So, first announcement is I started a podcast, which I think you already know, and I also am doing this as a recording. So you can either watch me or you can listen. Either one. I don't know how much you actually want to look at me talking to, just by myself, but you might be into that. And maybe you're sitting there nursing your baby and you just want something to watch. And so here I am. And yeah, my hair is looking great today, so you should at least look at it for that. But so first, that's my first announcement. I started a podcast, and I did this basically because I figured it would be more convenient for you because you can listen or watch whenever you have time. And it is also more convenient for me because previously I was trying to write a newsletter every other week, and I found that it was taking up a lot of my time and mental energy when I do have a lot to say. I have a lot of things that I'd like to talk about, but I don't have a lot of time to sit around and write when I have a 4-month-old and a 5-year-old. It's not happening. I can barely sit down to get a complete thought in. So I figured I have a better chance of recording a 10 to 15 minute podcast than writing out a newsletter. So you can still get my emails. There will still be technically a newsletter, but this recording will be part of it. And that will be the meat of what's in the newsletter. And then any other announcements will also be in that newsletter. So any announcements on events like workouts or new programs that I'm releasing, anything like that, will be in the newsletter. So I highly recommend you go to my website, reclaimfit.com, and sign up for that so that you know what's going on. But for now, you can just sit back and relax and listen to me talk to you because that's what this is all about. So the other announcement I wanted to make sure to let you know is that this year at Reclaim Fitness is our year of reclamation. So basically what I'm doing is each month we are talking about reclaiming another topic for ourselves. March was Reclaim Fitness, obviously, because I figured that was the best place to start. So we talked about in the newsletter what that looks like for us. And we talked about how the fitness industry, what it kind of shows us as what fitness is, what we think about as fitness being, for some of us, that might look like hour-long or longer workouts, a lot of sweating, a lot of tight clothes, a lot of, we feel like it has to be something. It has to look like something or it doesn't count. And we kind of talked about how to challenge that, especially at this time in our lives when we may be caregivers, we may just be years postpartum even. And those types of workouts don't work for our body or our schedule. And so what does work for us? And is it okay to do things that maybe don't look like the typical fitness workout, but that work for us? And does that count? So we did. We talked about that a little bit in the newsletter. And so if you want to read more about it, go ahead and go to my website, reclaimfit.com. And I believe you can get to the archived newsletters that way. And while you're there, sign up for the next ones so that you know what's going on. But this month is April, and we are talking about reclaiming your time. So the podcasts that we are having this month will be around what it looks like to reclaim your time for yourself when you are a parent, a caregiver, a birthing body, all the things. But for our first episode, I thought that it would be good for me to talk to you, introduce myself, and talk to you about why I'm here and what I'm doing on this podcast. So I'm going to start off by saying that I am I guess you would say a lifelong athlete. So I started playing sports when I was about 4 or 5. I started playing soccer. And as I grew older, I picked up softball. I did gymnastics and dance. And that really, once I got into high school, I did track and field and cross country. So I have been a athlete for pretty much my whole life. Moving into college, I played soccer and track and field in college as well as a Division III athlete. So I have a lot of experience in the athletic world. And what I've found is that as a young athlete, the world of athletics, the world of sports, it was seriously lacking in its education on our bodies, especially as women, especially as young women growing up, and especially as people who were planning on giving, maybe even not planning, but who could potentially give birth later in life. And there was just a huge lack of information, as a whole in my life, but also being an athlete, you would think that, I was using my body every day. I was working on my body every day, and there was just no communication on what was actually going on, how I was working out, and how to do that in a way that was actually helpful to me as a woman and as a birthing body and someone with a pelvic floor, which is everyone, not even just birthing bodies, and someone with a vagina. And so there was just not enough information out there. And I think I didn't realize that until I had my first child. And that was about 8 or 9 years after I graduated from college. I had my first child. Pregnancy went pretty smoothly. I thought, I got this. I can do birth, easy peasy, right? I've been working out my whole life. I've got a lot of endurance. I can totally do this. And as you likely well know, maybe you don't, maybe you haven't had your first child yet, or maybe you're just listening to this because you want to, and you're not even in that camp, but I think we tend to, on your first time around, if your experience was like mine, it's hard to know what to expect. And I ended up having a emergency C-section, or more like an unplanned C-section. And that was really difficult for me. I went through that, and then the first 2 weeks postpartum were extremely hard. And that probably prolonged into about 2 years postpartum. I think I experienced symptoms of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I didn't get the support I needed until several years into my postpartum experience. And that also included support regarding physical support. So I had no idea there was such a thing as physical therapy for my pelvic floor. I was experiencing, painful sex, painful bowel movements, painful urination. Things were happening that I did not understand about my body, and I was not getting a whole lot of information or help from my healthcare providers. And, the information that they did give me just wasn't very helpful. And so, and then, also I was moving from a place of understanding my body in one way, right? As an athlete, as someone who's very fit, who is able to do certain things. And then after pregnancy and in the postpartum period, I could no longer do those things anymore. And I think that's true for everyone, even people who were not athletic previously. Your body has gone through a major transformation. And so maybe the things that you were able to do before, not even related to athletics, just moving through your day, being able to do things without back pain or anything, anything like that. Your body changes, and we don't get a lot of guidance on why or what we can do in order to care and support for our bodies during that time and help us get to a place where we feel comfortable again. And I think a lot of us feel like we just have to submit to this feeling of weak, whether you feel weak or in pain or just out of sorts, and it's just like, now this is just my life now, and I have to kind of live this way. And when you're miserable or you're not okay with it, then, that's no way to go through life, is just to feel like, well, now this is how I have to live. And it just blew my mind coming into my postpartum experience that this is what I was expected to go through and not have any support. I felt completely lost. I was just like, why do I feel like no one is helping me? And there's nothing, I'm not getting any information. I don't know who to go to. The information I was getting was very cookie cutter, very basic. And then moving into the fitness space, trying to understand, me, athletic minded, thinking, okay, the issue is I'm out of shape and I need to go to the fitness community and get back in shape, right? I need to do some of these heavy duty workouts that are going to strengthen my body again. And what I found was most of these fitness communities were focusing more on aesthetic changes, more on weight loss, and more on just doing movements and things that just did not feel right for my body. And I was injuring myself and not feeling good about it. I did not feel comfortable. I was not feeling confident in my body. I just felt like these workouts were not made for me. And so after that, about 2 years into that postpartum experience, I came across an online community where I was actually able to find a lot more information. I learned about my pelvic floor, which I didn't know anything about. 2 years postpartum, I didn't know anything about my pelvic floor. And I have run into so many people that are in the same boat. And so it started, the more and more I learned, the more angry I got. Honestly, I was so upset that none of this information was available to me or anyone else, and not readily, at least. And our healthcare system was failing us and not giving us the information we needed to feel comfortable in just the baseline, comfortable in our bodies, feel like the transformation that we had gone through with birth and pregnancy wasn't something that we need to fix. It's something that has made us stronger, for one, and more beautiful, in my opinion, and that now we just need to understand how to care for our bodies during this time. We just need to know how to love and care for ourselves in this time when we are so needed by the people around us, and we are giving so much during this time that we need to give to ourselves and help. We need help with that. We need people to help and support us through that period of time. So I decided I wanted to learn more about this, and I wanted to talk to other people about this. And I wanted to just, even if I'm not perfect, I'm still learning myself how to speak about this, how to talk about our body parts, how to talk about how they change, how to talk about these things in a way that's helpful and respectful, and also realizing that there is still a lot of stigma around these things. And there's also a lot of people who have been through a lot of trauma surrounding these parts of our body and these things that we've gone through. I myself have experienced a lot of birth trauma. And so learning about these things can be really, really hard. And so I wanted to create a space where we have a community where we can support ourselves, where we can pass around resources, and we can learn some basic information so that we can make good decisions for ourselves. Instead of having a fitness community that's telling you that you need to change your body, that you need it to look a certain way in order to be happy, I want to create a community where we are helping each other learn about our bodies, each as individuals, and how to care and love for our bodies as they are right now, and not be so set on changing them, because we are beautiful as we are right now. And I truly believe that. Every single one of you is beautiful as you are right now, and you are so strong. You are each doing so much right now. And the last thing we need is more stuff on our to-do list. So yeah, that's the meat of it. And I really hope that through this podcast and through the work that I'm doing, through the things I'm learning and passing on to you, and hopefully also the information that I receive from you, that we can just create a really loving and supportive community and learn a lot from each other. So I'm going to end that for now. I know that wasn't a ton about me. I think I get off track sometimes, so I'm going to try to be better with that. But I think that's a good amount for right now. I want to keep these to around 10 or 15 minutes. Nice and easy, right? Nice and short. And so I hope you have a wonderful day. Please subscribe to this podcast. Please also find me on Instagram at Reclaim Fitness LLC, and visit my website, reclaimfit.com, so that you can subscribe to my newsletter as well. And before I go, before I go on all of these podcasts, I want to make sure that you know that you are already strong, you are already beautiful, and that you and your body deserve love. And that's something that I want to try to remind you of every week, or however often I do this podcast. But thank you for joining me today. We're going to learn more. We're going to do more. So I know this seems short, but I hope that you come back and learn more. All right. Thanks for joining me. Bye.